because
She knows enough to be dangerous, you know.
like I get that. I think I'm recording. Let me check real quick. I get so paranoid. You could even see it in the videos where I like go and I check OBS and I check whatever else. But no, I think we're going.
All right, let's do this. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 32 of Patch Notes, the Home Games podcast. I'm Yazeed, and our hatted friend is Joseph.
Hello, I'm Joseph. Today is June 1st. It is Hat Day. I call today Hat Day 2020. Wearing a hat because I haven't had a haircut in 4 months, and I don't want to subject Yazeed or our viewers to that, you know? So today we're rocking the Jesus is King, you know, the rare limited Kanye West merchandise. It's a hat. Hello
Is it
and welcome.
actually limited?
They don't sell them anymore, so yes, I think.
Nice.
Yeah.
When was the last time you shaved?
This morning. Yeah.
What's funny is that you don't grow as much facial hair as me, but I haven't shaved in the 3 months I haven't gotten a haircut or whatever.
Yeah, well, my hair grows super thick and super long. My facial hair, you'll only get like a mustache, which is gone, or little chin hairs, which are gone. Then I have these very thin little beard hairs. But yeah, for the most part, I can't grow hair outside of my head.
I kind of am jealous, honestly. This is a nightmare to deal with. And I was looking at barbers, and I was like, what if I get a haircut and a shave? Barbers aren't shaving anyone right now, so...
Really? They'll get like right up on your head, but not your face? It's right there.
I mean, at least the barbers that I looked at today, they didn't have an option for haircut and shave.
Well, is there a good barber? You go to a good barber in Tucson?
I used to, yeah. I went to a good barber. He just didn't do shaves. But yeah, he was good. He'd take forever, but he was good.
I imagine a good barber would take a while, but it's like if you have a barber, kind of like how I want to have a butcher. I want to have a meat guy. You know?
I have a meat guy.
You're living the dream on some level. You kind of had a barber. You currently have a butcher.
Well, I gave up on the... It's like, all right, like, here's the thing. The barber was good. It's just... It would kill me emotionally, like mentally, to sit in that chair for like an hour and a half once every like 2 to 3 weeks getting a haircut.
No.
Like, that's how long it would take him to cut my hair.
No.
That's a long time, every 2 to 3 weeks, to just be sitting there and doing nothing. Also, because it's like an hour to get there, then an hour and a half being there, and then an hour to get back. So it's just like, because I moved. God. Yeah, because it used to be like 15 minutes, but when I moved, it became an hour. So.
No.
Yeah.
Do you have any good barbers out by you now?
I don't know. I have not met any I just go to like the chain places. I would like to find a new barber. I do like going to a barber though.
Yeah, I hate getting my hair cut. People like they'll just like put the clippers in your ear and then ask you questions knowing that you can't hear them. Or if you go to a barber shop, it's like I just feel like I'm not manly enough to be there. You know what I mean? They're just like talking about sports.
Yeah.
And I just like I have no clue, you know? Like I'm just trying to be one of you.
I had an in because my brother found him. And it turns out that my barber's son was going to be competing in the Olympics for rock climbing. And at the time I was very into rock climbing. So I was like...
Are you still very into rock climbing?
I mean, I'm super into it. I just don't have somebody to go with me anymore. Which is kind of like... An important piece of rock climbing is you need to have a partner to climb with regularly. It's like one of the best ways to improve. So,
is it also for safety things, or is it like could you get, because if it's just for safety, like someone knows that you're out there, you could probably get like a drone or something to follow you, right?
No. Sorry, I'm not good enough to climb outside.
Oh, indoors.
Yeah, I do indoor climbing, and that one you require a belay. Like if I ever got really, really, really good, I'd probably get into like free solo because it's easier to do without anybody else, and I don't really have anyone else who climbs, so. But, I mean, that is also, like, on the scale of dangerous things that I've done, it'll be, like, hiking 14 miles alone, and it'll be, like, free solos, like, way up, like, off the screen, like, off the graph. Like, that's, like, probably one of the most dangerous things you could do, I think.
Free solo?
Yeah.
There's a word for that.
Yeah, free solo means that you don't have any ropes attached to you, so you're free. So it's just you and the wall and some chalk, usually. And solo meaning you're alone. So like you're doing the ascent alone. You don't have a belay partner. So that's what free solo means.
Yeah, don't do that.
No, that's a really easy way to die.
Great.
Super easy. You already hop into home game stuff?
Home game stuff.
I think that's it.
Okay. I forget what the song is. Last time I was editing, I was like, I'm going to play it in my head. I'll remember the song, and I'll play it in my head, and then and then I'll be able to time it. But I don't even know what the home game stuff song sounds like at the moment.
The one I'm imagining is the one for Song of the Week. I don't know why that's one that's popping in my head, but that's the one.
That's the want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I mean, I'll start with my updates because they're pretty small. So I'm still waiting on the player renaming PR work to come out so that I can borrow it for my Twitter game. So this past week I was just working on the unit tests and fixing games. So I think we now have 4 games that work and pass all the unit tests.
Nice.
Or those are the ones I had to do updates. I don't know how many were already working. I don't remember that off the top of my head. But yeah, like 4 games are now. In addition, whatever was working previously, 4 new games are working again. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So how many games are in that thing total that you're going to test?
I mean, basically like everything in the games directory minus the index.js file. So I think there's like 10 or 12 in there.
Yeah. Okay. Just wanted to know because I don't know how many games we have.
I think it is like 10 or 12. But my Twitter game is included in that count. So whatever I'm giving you is +1 to whatever's actually in there in like the master repo. Cool. But yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so you're waiting on a pull request, and I am working on that pull request for you. You know?
Thank you.
So, the first thing I wanted to talk about was just circles, and just to wrap up circles, to kind of close the loop.
That's actually really good. I like that one. I was also going to try to fit in a joke about lemons because I saw your tweet, but I couldn't think of a way of tying lemons into this.
Well, this whole shapes feature might end up being a big lemon in the end because I'm scrapping it is my point.
Oh.
So, no, not scrapping it permanently, just kind of temporarily putting it on hold. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you why. So, my plan of just shapes of all sorts are only managed from a list of coordinates, being that essentially the coordinates are just a list of drawing instructions, and because in your brain you think, oh, well, point to point to point, that'll cover all cases, and maybe I'll figure out how to do circles by doing something fancy. And my thing of doing circles was, like I've mentioned a few times, but things that are over 100. My thinking was you would arc to it from whatever you were at before. So my thinking with how you would make a circle is you would say start at an XY and then give me another point to arc to, which would be the same XY, but with the Y being the diameter of the circle plus your previous Y. So you start here, and I want it to arc to here. Me arcing to here and then arcing back essentially creates that circle with a diameter of the Y difference.
Right.
So if I just remove the second arc, there's ambiguity in what you actually want me to do if you say arc from point to point. I can arc and I can give a little like bubble of a distance from kind of what would be the the kind of center point of the lines if they were straight. But since I'm kind of yanking out from the middle and arcing it, well, how much do you want me to arc? Do you want me to kind of poke out this way a little bit? You want me to poke out way over this way? How do you know you want me to poke out on this side at all? If I wanted to arc from here to here, what if you wanted me to go this way or this way? How would you know? So the interface of just providing coordinates was kind of ultimately the problem. I realized I was also thinking about arc2 the wrong way. So arc2 in my head, and I think I mentioned it, was like just give it 2 points to be tangential to, and I don't understand the radius parameter that I'm passing to it, but just give it a number, and I don't know. So they say it on like the MDN docs for arc2. I'm like really terrible with reading documentation. I have to read it like a dozen times before I get it. But it's like basically imagine that you have 3 points. You have your point that you're starting at, the point that you want to like point to, and then another point. Basically, if you wanted to create a cone, and instead of having a sharp edge on that cone, you have a curved edge on that cone. So like point to point to point. If you're just doing these 3 points with no arc, then it's straight. It's just a pointy. But if you do arc to and you pass it certain parameters, it will do that, but with the curvy on the end. Anyway, I just had to rethink about how I was using arc to. Realized that the way that I wanted to do the interface for circles, lines, blah 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 was too complicated. So the kind of core change of coordinates is still there. So we still support polygons in a general sense, not just rectangles. But all the other kind of more advanced shape stuff was taking too much time, and the fact that there's other feature work blocked on me at this point means that I have to prioritize getting all this stuff out because it's ready, instead of like continuing to bang my head against complex shapes. So that might be the next thing I do, or I might work on something else. I kind of want to work on versioning and other stuff next after this, but basically I'm still working on the pull request for all of this stuff that I have, and there's still a ton of changes in there. It's just I scrapped the advanced shape stuff like yesterday when I realized it wasn't going my way. So yeah, I will try to get some work on home games in during the week, which I don't normally do. Normally it's like just Saturdays and sometimes Sundays. But yeah, I'll try to do it on the weeknights this week to get some stuff in, so you at least have time before the next episode to work on stuff.
I mean, if you got other stuff to do, it's not like I'm done with the unit tests on the game, so like I could finish that up too.
No,
because I was also going to ask you, like, because I thought a lot of what you were starting this work for was that you could make your own game. I thought you had like a game in mind that you wanted to make. I don't remember what it was, but you had a game in mind that you wanted to make. Like, is this not moving towards that if you wanted to move towards like versioning?
Yeah, I wanted to make that game, and then the game, that was the whole like WebRTC thing because it was too complicated, and then I kind of just went back into adding more kind of core functionality and cleaning stuff up, which is what I would call all of this. I could make games. I think I've realized over the past couple months that there is a lot of stuff that's still kind of relatively unanswered. Mostly like how we build and release home games. Like we have that Docker stuff still sitting. So I need to kind of figure out how we incorporate that into the workflow. And then I need to figure out how we do stuff like versioning core home games and then versioning the actual games that are part of home games. And I think all of that stuff is not necessarily required for me to make a game first, but I don't think me making a game is like as directed. Like there's not a goal there other than me messing around, but there is a clear goal of like figure out how to do versioning. We need to figure out versioning eventually.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I was just curious about that because I don't want it to be like you can't make games. I know that's one of the things you enjoy doing. So it's like,
honestly, my favorite part of this is doing the everything else. I realized like I like the idea of making games, but me as a person, I'm not like creative in that way to go and like sit down and think about something that would be fun to play and then make it. Like I can't really do that so much, but I can make tools, you know? So
I got you. Yeah.
That stuff has been fun for me.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, eventually I'll make my game again or whatever. It's just, I kind of hit a wall when I realized I couldn't make like a dungeon crawler like I wanted to. And then realized I never really wanted to make a dungeon crawler. I just wanted to make something fast because I wanted to test my tools that I've made to render. You know what I mean? Like I just wanted to get that stuff to go. So, still in there. I think I would also really like to go through, I think I mentioned this like a dozen times, but go through our GitHub issues and clean them up and make them real. And if I have like a task I can point to and be like, oh, I'm working on whatever, whatever I'm working on, I can point to something that says this is what I'm working on, instead of like, yeah, I don't know, I just decided to add more features to this 1,000 lines of changes that I already had. So hopefully there'll be more whatever of that after this. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're finding enjoyment still, that's what it all comes down to.
Oh, I enjoy it. It's just a lot. And life's stressful for everybody, life has been stressful for me for other reasons for the past like month. So I'm just kind of all over the place. But things are going.
Nice. I got you. So, sorry, when you talk about versioning, right? So you were saying that you wanted to version both like home games itself and also the individual games.
Yeah.
Why would we version either of those things?
So you have case one where a game is using like the squisher. The squisher is part of home games, and say the squisher is on V whatever 0.9, and then we find a performance improvement in the squisher, and so we update squisher to version 0.95, and now games run 1.5 times faster or more performant, whatever. Like, so then my game maybe didn't change at all, but the underlying engine did. So it's game version X, but engine version Y, because those two things together create a real version of what you're playing at the moment. If you want to reproduce this bug that I found, or you want to do whatever, you can try reproing with just the same game version, but you might not be on the same engine version, which in this case would be that squisher change. So that. On the other side, you could have, a change in the actual game logic that makes something different. And say, for example, it's square, which I still hate saying that, square, but it's like V1. And then you come back in a month and you gave everything rounded edges, and you added assets, and you added controller support, and you added blah, blah, blah. Well, that's like Frogger or Squarer, sorry, copyright. Squarer 1.1 or whatever you want to call it. But to track the different versions of games, so I can say, I, the developer, have updated a game, and you, the player, know that this is not the same version of the game that you played last week. Another giant question is how we update the client. How we update not client, but it's like the server too. If you download home games and run it on your local network, how do we streamline the automatic update process? Can we even do an automatic update? I have no idea. I would guess so, but I'm not a computer guy like that, so I have to look into it.
I think there is a way of doing a request for a git pull, but I think we'd run into possible merge conflict.
Yeah, and I don't want to have...
So you have to have a git repo set up on your computer.
Yeah, I don't want someone to have git installed locally.
Yeah.
They should, in a perfect world, they just download and install the binaries once, and then they can just update themselves, which I don't know how that would work. That's why I'm saying I have to look into it, but that's another kind of big question mark, and I think that's one of those things that's like a fundamental part of what we're doing. It's just we never thought about it, so we kind of gotta figure it out.
I was going to ask actually about auto updating and stuff like that. Wouldn't we run into a problem where if we ever changed, for example, like the version of Squish.js again, right? So like say we updated Squish.js in a fundamental way that breaks it for some of the games that are out there. Do we want to auto update? Or do we want to say like, hey, this could break it could break some games. Do you want to update?
Well, I would say that the auto update would be someone playing home games, like home games proper, where in that case Squish is a dependency, and I would say that we wouldn't release that new home games update with a breaking change unless we had some sort of remedy for that, even if it was like, run a deprecated version of Squish on an old whatever to play these old games, and you can't play them in the new thing, or some backwards compatible thing to translate the calls to old stuff, something. But like, it kind of goes hand in hand with like our process question, but like building and releasing things and making something official. Like, what does that even look like? But that all kind of be part of the same thing.
Yeah, I was asking mostly because like I could see us in a position where, well, maybe I don't see it, but I do see it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So let's say we're in a position where there's, 50 games on home games, right? And we update Squish.js. Are you and me going to go through all 50 games and make sure that they work again?
with your unit tests, we won't have to. But in a less optimistic / more realistic world, I think if we are at a point where we truly, genuinely have 50 different games that we think that people actually play in a real way, if home games ever get to the point where that's a real problem, I think and hope that we would have at least enough people on a moderator type thing to do like what we referenced maybe a few weeks ago, of like, frame it as a beta program or whatever, but basically play test these games for us because life is hard and this is all free. So, hey, you guys, it'd be a fun experience to play test these games, right? It'd be a fun experience to like be a part of this community because maybe we'll have podcast shout outs, whatever people like, whatever. But just thinking about,
they can be on the podcast as guests. There we go. Boom.
I would love that. I think that'd be so cool. Like I've mentioned a bunch of times before, but if anybody about this, like, if anybody cares enough to be part of the community that we build or whatever, then I would love for them to be part of all of this stuff. Like I even mentioned the game showcase thing. It's like, oh, you made a game with JavaScript and like you just want to showcase it, like record a video game. Well, like record a video of your video game, send it to us, and we'll showcase it on our channel. And like all that stuff will feed into home games, so people will like feel like they're a part of this thing, So I don't know. It's like a commie dream or whatever of just like everybody's gonna do their part and contribute towards the better of the whatever. But we'll see how that actually works. But
I got you. I like the idea of the beta. I also like the idea of the backwards compatibility. Like maybe adding in as part of the versioning for each game, we include the like version of Squish.js that they want, and then we make sure that there's at least that version of Squish.js available for them.
Yeah.
Because then we could always like, and then if you don't have that value in there, it just defaults to whatever the current value is.
I don't know how
the current version is.
I don't know how we would bundle multiple versions of Squish, but we could. I don't know how. I think
we'd have. Well, see, that's why I was saying we could include if we could include the versioning information for like as part of the versioning information, the metadata for the game, we include the Squish version, because then we could have like a Squish controller. It's like all the Squish functions come into that Squish controller, and we figure out which version that the game wants, and then we go from there. And we just call the like version number, like version of the function, if that makes sense. And then we'd also if all the versions are in there, we would know what the minimum version is, and then we could clean out anything older than the minimum.
Yeah, I like that. I think that makes sense. Because it should be on the game developer when they want to update to the new version of Squish. Because there might be new methods, there might be different whatever, and so
I mean, like when we changed the color stuff, like that broke quite a bit. So
yeah, well, you changed the color stuff and broke everything.
Well, I didn't merge it in. But yeah, okay. I don't know if I have any other questions on there. Oh, you have one more thing on your notes.
Yes, I do. So my thinking was that we wouldn't have a lot to talk about this episode, so I would open up conversation with this last bullet point. We could save it to another episode if you want. I don't know how long this one's been going.
About 28 minutes is where I'm at.
We can save this topic for the next one if you want to like think about it, or we can just go for it now. I kind of just wanted to reference this.
Let's save it for next time, because I'd like some time to think about it.
Sure. Okay. The bullet points achievements, by the way, just for
no, you shouldn't have kept it a secret. Made them start guessing.
Okay, so we'll talk about achievements at another time, and that's it for home game stuff for me.
All right, and that's all I had as well.
Cool.
We're gonna move on to what's up.
What's up?
Do you want to go? You want to start?
Yeah, I just played some video games. Wanted to mention it. One of them is I played some American Truck Simulator. and maybe I was under the influence of some stuff, some things, some coconut oil, just chugging it, like to get it real warm and it coats the insides. Anyway, American Truck Simulator is really good. It's have you seen or played it?
No.
So have you seen Euro Truck Simulator?
No, I've heard of the simulator series of games. I've never played any of them.
Yeah, it's a whole series. I mean, it's just there's like all these crazy different modes. I have a steering wheel too, like a racing wheel controller. I just don't use it because it's like embarrassing, but I do have one. So basically, this is a game that caters towards people that have those controller setups, where you're interested in the idea of, hey, what if you had a fake trucking company, you got to name it whatever you want, and the whole game is just doing jobs by driving a truck to get more money to buy better trucks for your company, so you can then make more money, so you can then hire people to work as truck drivers for your company. And they're like, vast majority of your time is spent driving a truck, like, to the speed limit, stuff like that. Are you at all enthused by this idea? No. Okay, I'm very into this idea. I love the idea.
I'm not saying it's a bad game or a bad idea or anything like that, but just like of all the ways I could spend my time, driving a truck is not the way I would want to do it. If that makes sense.
I get it. That's totally fair. I was talking to Tynan about this, and I guess he watches some streamer who plays these games with the full racing wheel setup, and he just drinks Budweiser like the whole time, which if I could do that like as a streamer making money, that would be my dream. Like, that would be amazing. But no, I don't know. It's just a driving game. It's like really simple. I hit 95 on the highway and the limit was 65 and I didn't get pulled over. I think there might be a mechanic where you can be, but like, no stress, no missions really. It's like you could drive from Tucson to Nogales, take these things, but you don't even care what the things are. You're just driving the truck. It's relaxing in a way. Anyway, played that, pretty awesome, and I beat Hong Kong Massacre. I'm trying to get every achievement in that game, which is why I thought about achievements this week, because I'm still playing that game for the achievements, even though in my head I want to stop playing it. Which is why I think achievements are an interesting thing in games.
I think that you appreciate achievements a lot more than I do, actually. Because the games I enjoy, I would play with or without achievements. Like, they don't really have any bearing on me. I don't really value them very much. But, like, I know, like, you used to go, like, I remember, like, you rented Hannah Montana and played that for, like, Gamer's Score back in, like, the Xbox thing. Also, I want to point out that if that's true, I remembered something from a long time ago. Like, something with, like, no importance. Yet somehow what we talked about earlier, which is, like, actually has, like, bearing on, like, our interpersonal relationships and stuff like that, don't remember it at all. I remember, like, a random fact about you, but, like, nothing related to myself.
Before we recorded, we were talking because Yazeed seems to have trouble remembering everything that's ever happened to him. Yeah. So it's like, hey, remember all of high school when we like met and formed our friendship that is now one of the most important relationships in our lives? And you're like, I don't know, probably not. No.
I remember when we formed our friendship. Okay. I remember that. Joseph was like, I remember we went on like a double date and like he told me like some bits and pieces about this double date and I was like, no, at all. Like, just, I don't remember it even a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, I did rent Hannah Montana, the movie, the game. I rented the Avatar Last Airbender game. I rented like all the cheap, cheesy achievement point games on the 360 I played. My gamer score there is like 160K, which is still to this day like absurd, but I got it like 5-6 years ago. Anyway, yes, achievements I think have like on some level broken me as a person. I'm really not even joking, I guess, which is the sad part. But like,
I know.
Yeah. Achievements, I think that's what I said. I think they're interesting because like Hong Kong Massacre, the game is fun, but I've spent already 9 hours trying to get all the achievements in what should have been like a 3-hour game. And now here I am, two achievements away from the end, hoping that all I can do is just get those last 2 achievements to uninstall the game and forget about it. Like, that's not playing video games. You know what I mean? That's not like what I should really be doing it for. That's why I'm asking. That's why I think it's an interesting question. Like, anyway, we'll talk about achievements in home games some other time when we can think about it. But I just think they're a really interesting concept.
Hold on. Is next week the week that we're doing one in person?
That's the week after, but we could do in person next week if you want to. That works.
Let's do it in person after, because I actually have another topic that I wanted to talk to you about. I just wanted to like get your feel for like what makes a game good. And I feel like that would be a pretty interesting conversation topic.
Yeah, we can do that next week. We'll do in-person recording. Put it on your calendar on June 7th.
My dog's gonna be so weird about it. It's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah, I'll get to meet her.
You will. She's a real sweetheart. Don't worry.
Yeah.
She's a little shy, but real sweetheart. And then she'll open up to you, and then she'll be like, "Do you have food? I love food."
That's how I work as well.
Interestingly, same though.
That's it for what's up for me.
Nice. I'm glad that you got to play some games that you enjoyed, even though I don't understand the enjoyment of one.
Of Hong Kong Massacre.
No, I understand the enjoyment of that one, because that one
American
is
Truck
like
Simulator.
Hotline Miami. I don't understand the simulator series, the like farm simulator games and stuff like that. I've never really, I don't know, like those games don't really appeal to me, which is funny because like I would imagine me appealing, like how those games appeal to me more because I like to make my own fun in games, whereas you tend to like more like story driven, like progressive games.
Yeah, I was here and I was like, it was so funny to me. Like, I was laughing out loud to myself playing that game because I was speeding. And again, I was under the influence of some stuff. Maybe I wasn't in the best state of mind, but like
coconut oil.
Laughing, like cracking up because I hit 90. Because it's like, the game is so serious. It's also like the physics are all relatively realistic. There's no like whatever. But you just like flipping a truck going 90 down the highway in the middle of like a very sterile like simulation type world is hilarious to me. Anyway, go ahead. It's your what's up. You should play that game though.
Yeah. So I beat Empires: The Undergrowth, which is basically like I think that game's still in early access, or it's like just left, and they're still like building levels for it. It's like I've beaten up to the current like maximum level. Game's still super fun. I hate spiders even more than I did previously, which is incredible because I'm afraid of them. But yeah,
are there bosses in that game?
Bosses?
Yeah, like if you beat a level, like if you beat the game, what's the last?
Well, I mean, like each level has like a different challenge to it. So like, here's an example of one. There is a level where you're a new ant colony on a beach, and so like you're the new ant colony on the beach, and there's 2 established ant colonies, and the tide is slowly coming up every day. And so the ant colonies like closer to the ocean need to move up, like away from the water, and they'll try to do this a couple of times overnight. So like attack your colony, and they'll try to like get in and eat your queen. And so like each night they get closer and closer, like overrunning you. And so your objective is just to, like survive. Another challenge is like, oh, by the way, there's like spiders in your underground area, and you don't know that. And it's like as you're expanding, you like run into spiders, and then they just start eating everything. And you have to like find a way of like hunting down these spiders. But spiders, I didn't know this, are much faster than ants, like orders of magnitude faster than ants. So in order to catch a spider requires like, I don't know, 30 ants, and you only have like 100 ants total. So it's a pretty big investment to kill one spider.
Makes sense. They move faster. They got like what, twice the legs.
They have a third more legs.
How many legs?
Spiders
ants have 6 legs. Ants I didn't know ants had
6 legs.
I thought they had 4.
No. All insects have 6 legs. All arachnids have 8.
At first, I was thinking they had 2, and I was like, "There's no way an ant has 2 legs."
Can you imagine how awful that would be? Like if ants had arms and legs, that'd be the worst. I don't think I could handle that.
Wait, you mean like human?
Yeah, like human grasping arms and like human legs, just like like running around like little savages that they are, collecting like seeds and other bugs and stuff. That'd be horrifying. No one would want ants. We'd kill them 100%.
People already do kill ants. But no, I'm glad that you enjoyed that game. I'm still hyped to play it. I'm trying to get into more bug-related games after Earth Defense Force.
Yeah, this is like the opposite of Earth Defense Force. Earth Defense Force, you're like trying to like stop the ants from spreading. And this one, you're like masterminding your ant takeover of a beach. It's actually like very fun. Yeah. You'll be like, there's an aphid farm and you can like gather resources from the aphids because like aphids produce, I think it's called like honeydew, which is just like a syrup. And ants love it, and so they'll like protect aphids, but that means you have to fight like hummingbirds, ladybugs, and it's like that's now a commitment of resources to like defend ladybugs so you can get food. Anyway, game's super fun. I beat it up to whatever the current level is. I'll probably play it again like in 7 months or so when there's like a bunch more content for me to go over. And the other game I played was a game called Renowned Explorers, which is basically just like a roguelike. I don't know actually what.
I mean, I've heard both. I don't. It's because like Rogue, the video game Rogue, was like one of the originators of that whole thing of like die and then you restart. Anyway, you say whatever. Yeah. Either one works.
I don't know. You like build like it's from like the Great Age of Exploration. So like you could build like a little team of 3 explorers and like you do these little missions, and if you fail, like you fail. It's pretty fun, actually. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
It's like a tower
I got to the
defense?
last level and messed up, and I couldn't progress anymore.
What's the game?
Oh yeah, the idea is like you're part of like the Explorer Society. So like this is like back when that was like a bigger aspect of people's lives, and so like they'll be like, "Yo, there's this place in Chile. Can you go and see what's like if there's any cool resources there?" And then so like you go to Chile, and there's like, "Oh, this is like the last Incan civilization, and they have like this big robe thing." Take it. So you have to like either like befriend the Incans enough that they'll give it to you, or you just like scare them, or you kill them. And it's just like you have like there's like a rock paper scissors type approach to combat and like how you interact with people and stuff like that. It's quite fun and pretty in depth. But yeah.
Did you play this one before?
Yes.
Like on another episode, you talked about this.
I don't know if I talked about this on another episode. I have played it before, like 2 years ago, so probably not. But you and I have talked about it. I've told you about it.
Because it sounds like Baby Civ, so I think I might have mentioned that before.
Oh, maybe it's fun. I like it a lot. I think it's a neat game to play when you need a way of just like relaxing after a day. Yeah.
Cool.
Until you get to what I got to, which is basically like. You're in combat with the final boss. If you beat him, you beat the game. If you don't beat him, you start from the beginning. And you can't beat him, no matter what you do. Like, you keep reloading that checkpoint. And every time, for like 4 hours, you're reloading that checkpoint on a Sunday. And you're just like, come on, this is the time. And every time you lose, then you finally have to admit to yourself, like, maybe I'm not as good at this game as I thought I was. Like, maybe I can't beat this game.
Yeah.
So that's... Yeah, and then other than that, I saw bobcats. Yeah, bobcats. I saw bobcats for the first time in my whole life. 2 days ago when I was on a walk with my dog.
Were they like close to your house or were kind of far?
Yeah, out? Actually, they were like 6 minutes away from my house.
Yeah,
it was funny because we were walking and she was like, "I see something I could probably fight," and I was like, "That's not a rabbit. That's too big to be a rabbit." And I like moved my head around and I was like, that's a coyote or a bobcat. And I like moved my head around and I was like, oh, those are like 2 or 3 bobcats. I was like, we're gonna walk on the other side of the road now. Like, I'm not one bobcat like you and I can definitely take, dog, but like 3, one of us is gonna get some injuries and it's probably gonna be you.
Probably both, dude. I don't think you and Sapphire could take 3 bobcats.
No, I don't think so either. Yeah. I think we could frighten 1. I think we could take 2. I don't think we could take 3.
Yeah. I think this is like referencing, or this is kind of going back to, I think it was episode 0 or episode 1, where we talked about fist fighting javelinas, and then you wanted to cut it out, so we did. We're talking about fist fighting a bobcat.
We do talk about, I talk about fist fighting a lot of animals because it's gone through my head a little bit more, like more recently, like it's really come to my attention that I need to commit to like knowing my limit of like what kind of animal I could run into and safely get away from.
What do you think your limit is right now? Where you're like, yes, I could beat up. Okay.
A coyote. Actually, I could 100% take a coyote. 100%.
Like one-on-one, drop you in a ring with a coyote. You'll take that thing?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. A coyote's not much bigger than Sapphire. And I could take Sapphire.
But like, have you ever fought an aggressive dog? Because that's like what a coyote is.
No.
Maybe you should rethink the confidence in this one, bud. Because like dogs are terrifying when they're mad at you. It's like a whole different vibe.
Okay, look, I'm not saying, when I say I could take it 100%, I'm not saying I would get out of it completely unscathed. I might have to give up an arm, but I would win.
Okay, because in my head, you're like gonna Rocky it and just walk in and like just put it down.
Rocky also got the brains beat out of him. Yeah, I'm willing to be like, okay, look, I'm gonna give up like an arm or a leg or something, but that coyote's definitely not gonna be walking away as the victor. I'm gonna walk away as the victor minus an arm or a leg, and possibly be the loser afterwards. But
So in the animal fight chain in your head, what's the one above coyote that you cannot take?
Javelina.
Okay. Like one javelina, you don't think? Because I think I could stomp out a javelina faster than I could fight a coyote.
Listen, I also thought I could take a javelina, and then I was like 6 feet away from one. And one of the things I realized was how big javelinas are. Like they're not. People think they're like, oh, like a javelina, it's so cute. They're like pretty damn big. They're like 3 to 4 feet tall and like 6 feet long. They're like pretty big animals.
3 to 4 feet tall is like a man size, like a small man sized height animal. Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
4 feet tall javelinas.
I think at the shoulder, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I'm sure I could still stomp out a javelina. It's like a big pudgy thing. Like they're just ugly. I don't think they look.
Nah, dude, they mess up all kinds of things. Yeah, all kinds of things.
Me too. Shoot, I can mess up. What do you want? Like a car? I'll mess up a car.
A car doesn't try to rip your body apart with its tusks.
No, but I'm saying javelinas mess things up. I can mess things up if you don't fight me.
Oh,
I'm gonna go burn down a house.
No. Oh, sorry. When I said javelinas mess things up, I meant dogs. Javelinas beat dogs. That's why they're one tier above coyote for me, because they literally are the thing that's capable of beating that animal.
Okay. Keep in mind, we don't condone fighting animals of any kind on this podcast. I just think I could take a javelina.
When was the last time you saw a javelina?
Less than a year ago. They pop up pretty often around Zenobia's house. And packs too. So I know I could stomp them out.
Yeah, I don't know. They were bigger than I thought they would be. That's all I know.
Next time I'm on 4th walking around and I see a group of javelinas that want to tussle, I'll give them one. We'll record it for the podcast.
You know that Vine? Sorry. I have to go back to my roots a little bit and reference the Vine. There's a Vine of these guys driving, these kids driving, and they see a duck, and one of them goes "You'll never be nothing, duck. You're just like your father." And that's how I imagine you'd rile the javelinas up.
Yeah, that's how I would trash talk the javelinas, I suppose. I got to work on my javelina trash talk game.
Please do.
But I'll get there before the fight.
Other than that, fighting javelinas. I've been watching Avatar: The Last Airbender. I'm on the Fire book. So I'm
from the beginning
with the show. Yeah, I watched it from the beginning to here. It's I'm on the Day of Black Sun. For anyone who's watching that show before, I'm on the Day of Black Sun. That's the episode I need to watch still.
Have you watched it before, or are you just starting for the first time?
No, I watched it before, but I realized when I watched it before, I watched it on when it was airing, and I didn't watch it consistently. I didn't watch it as each new episode came out, so I'd miss episodes. So now that I'm watching it from the beginning to now, I get it more. And I've seen episodes I've never seen before.
Nice. I've heard good things about that show. I just haven't ever watched it.
It's great. I like that show a lot. I don't think you are any of the characters in that show, though.
Why? Because no one in that show can take a javelina?
No, they could definitely take a javelina. There's no one who's I'm gonna say this, and it's not an insult, but friendly in a mean way.
I'm friendly in a mean way. I get that. Is that worse than being mean in a friendly way?
Yeah, no. Being mean in a friendly way is much worse. Because being mean in a friendly way is like pretending to be somebody's friend. But being friendly in a mean way is like we're on a level where you like insult me, and I know you're joking, so it's okay.
Yeah, right. Joking.
Oh my god. It's like we're two halves of like the friendship dichotomy. Like I'm the supportive kind where like I'm never really mean and I don't really like hit you with zingers. And then you hit me with zingers all the time.
I'm never nice. Never talk to me.
You've been nice to me a few times.
For anything serious, never talk to me. Need a ride at like 1 a.m., don't call me. I'll leave you stranded.
You know what's funny is I actually think of all of my friends, you'd be the first one I would call if I needed a ride at 1 a.m.
Yeah, probably. If I'm able to answer the phone, I will come pick you up.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's all I had for Song of the Week. All right.
Song of the Week.
What's up? That's all I had for What's Up. Did you have anything else you want to talk about?
No. Yeah, just video games and hanging out. Oh, sorry. Yeah, no. Song of the Week.
Song of the Week.
All right. You go.
Ooh, okay. So I listened to Dollars on My Head.
Hell yeah.
And I think one of the lines I actually have a question on is he says, drop the 2 tint. Car came with no tint. Damn. What is the 2 tint?
So, you see, I know that line, and I don't know what he says there. I know this is what it says on Genius.
Yeah, I had to go look it up.
Yeah.
Because all I really got was the car came with no tint. Damn. Yeah. And I was like, all right.
Because that's when he's like, rose gold on the drop 2. Yeah, and I don't know what he says there, but drop the 2 tint. I don't know what that means. And then car came with no tint. Damn. You know, that's one of those lines where, like, I don't think he says that. And if he does, one day it'll click. And if he didn't, one day it'll click in the sense that you actually hear what he says. Kind of like how in Digits, how he says hustlers don't stop, they keep going. But for like years, I thought it was horses don't stop. Things like that, you know?
That really cracks me up because that must have been so out of place.
Like, oh, I guess that makes a lot more sense than horses. But I don't think he says that. But if he... Anyway, I don't know what that line means. That's kind of the magic of Young Thug.
Can I tell you what I think that line means?
Sure.
I think when he says... I don't know what the drop the 2 tint part means. I assume that's some value of currency. But car came with no tint. I assume that maybe he bought a really basic car. Like, he couldn't afford a car that came with tint. So the car came with no tint. And that's why... whoever is the backup singer, dude, goes, damn. Because he's like, ooh, that sucks, dude. Like, you bought a car, cool, but you couldn't afford tint. Damn. Yeah. Like, ooh. Like, even like, Garbo cars have tints.
You know what? Sure, yeah, that's it.
That's what I got out of that. Like, he was flexing earlier in the song, and I felt like at that point he was saying, like, you know what? I'm really balling, but, like, not that balling, you know? Like, I'm making a lot of money, but not tint money, you know?
I'm just like you know? Car came with no tint. Damn.
But my song of the week is Bonfire. I don't know how to pronounce this name, so I'm going to give my best approximation. Woods?
I think it's just Woods. It's just Woods with an E.
Yeah, it might be Woods with an E. I'm not sure.
Cool.
What did I say? Woods?
What is?
I don't know. Woods.
What is up, guys?
What is up, guys?
I think it's just Woods.
It might be just Woods. That's the kind of music I listen to where they take like random words and they mess them up, and that's our name. That's our band name, bro.
I like it.
Yeah.
What's that song sound like?
It sounds like being around a campfire with your friends.
So like gather around the campfire.
No, not that kind. It's an indie pop song with a lady singer. It's like boom, there you go. That's like the basic. But that song makes me feel like I'm around a campfire with my friends.
Cool.
Like just like good vibes, chilling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. I can use some good chillin' vibes for my playlist this next week. Speaking of not chillin' vibes, your song of the week last week was Plucky by Morley.
Yeah.
Song's pretty cool. It is not that chill. I was surprised to hear how not chill it was. It was like, I've called some of the stuff that you've recommended as sparse before, like very skeletal. This one had the same thing, but it was still like there was like
punch to it.
Yeah, there was something going on even when there was no real music happening, which was cool. I liked it. I had trouble understanding the words she was saying, which is funny because we just talked about Young Thug and we don't know what he's saying on that one part. But yeah, I thought it was cool. It was a cool song. I would listen to it again.
Nice. I think that's one of like 3 songs I've gotten you to that you've enjoyed that I've sent. It just makes me pretty happy.
Yeah, and keep in mind, I call your taste garbage, but that's just because we're friends. Like
friendly in a mean way.
Your taste is mostly like you like generally good stuff, even though I don't vibe with a lot of it. But I don't think any of the stuff that you like is bad.
Oh, thank you. What's your song of the week, man?
My song of the week. So, Lil Yachty. We've talked about this just before the show a little bit. Do you know who Lil Yachty is?
You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I mix up Lil Yachty and when we went to a shoe store together like years ago, and the people in that shoe store wanted to talk to you about a rapper, and there was like Lil something, and I don't know if it's the same person.
Let's talk about Lil Boosie.
Oh, yeah. And you were super uncomfortable, and JC and I left you.
You guys are the worst friends for that. I don't know how to
interact here. We're just going to leave you.
You guys are the worst friends for that. But yeah, that dude at I think it was the Van store. He's like, "Oh, bro, you looking for some Vans, bro?" Well, I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Bro, you like hip hop, bro? You like Lil Boosie? That's my favorite rapper, dude, Lil Boosie." And the whole time I thought he was just messing with me because he was like so over the top with it. He was like a Kyle who worked at a Van store who was doing the like y'all mess with Lil Boosie thing. So anyway, it was like I had to like stand there and cross my arms because I was so uncomfortable. I couldn't not. So it was bad. But anyway, Lil Yachty, he's a rapper. He has a sound where he has like kind of just heavy auto-tune on his voice, and his beats are very, in the beginning they were very like childish in a good way. They sounded like baby toys, but like trapped out, you know? It was pretty crazy. So he was just like high pitch rap singing things over that. Anyway, he kind of, in my opinion, made music that was not as interesting for a while, and then he made a new album called Lil Boat 3. His first album was called Lil Boat. He made another one called Lil Boat 2. He's got this one called Lil Boat 3. There's a song on this album with Future called Pardon Me, and it's very good, and that's my song of the week. It's my song of the week because of Future, and Lil Yachty is basically barely on this song. The best part is Future. So, just to kind of follow up my last week or the week before, or whatever it was, about Future's newest album and how I didn't like that. I think he was the best part of Lil Yachty's new album. Yeah, I don't know. It's fun. He just does weird things again. Like he does a lot of whistling in this one, kind of like how in Supmate the thing was with him and Young Thug doing woo, like the woo woo. This is whistling. So it's I'm on that, she on that, you know. I can't whistle very well, but
I can't whistle at all.
Yeah, and so it's just whistling, which I think is pretty stupid, but it's funny. So yeah, you know, pardon me. Listen to it. We also referenced the song we talked about before is called TD. It's on that same album. It's Tokyo Drift because it samples the Tokyo Drift song.
No, it does. No, it is not. Does it?
Yes.
Does it actually stand for Tokyo Drift?
I imagine that's what it would stand for. It's just called TD. But even the A$AP Rocky verse even says Tokyo Drift, like the sample. Like he says it like they sample Tokyo Drift.
How many times do you listen to that song? Just before we move on,
like 5.
Know. God, dude, I got so little out of it. I didn't listen to it once.
Well, yeah, one time. And it's like, you hear a song for the first time, you don't process it the way that you do, like with other stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't realize it was the Tokyo Drift song until like my third listen. So,
okay.
but yeah, anyway, there's a part in there where he says, I don't want to look like nobody else. And then in the back, he just says, else, like with no energy. And then, look so good, I might rob myself. So, just the self in the background is like my favorite thing. We talked about this before, but I think it sounds like JC. JC would do something like that. So that's my runner-up, TD.
I've listened to TD already. I'll give it another listen to get a more feel for it, and then I'll listen to Pardon Me as well.
Really feel the self when he says it, because I think it makes me laugh every time. Every time.
Is it becoming more popular in rap music to do that, like, one word, like...
The ad-libs and stuff?
Nah, like, okay, so, like, in Dollars on My Head, right, like, the damn, and there's, like, a bunch of other, like, just, like, one word, like, emphasizers in there, and then, like, in this song, there's a lot of that, like, not, like, reverb, but, like, echo, actually, like, where they'll say a line and then, like, say it again. Yeah. So, like, is that becoming more popular, or is that actually, like, falling out of favor for rap? Do you know?
It's huge in hip-hop. Like, people like Young Thug popularized it because of the whole, like... They'll, like, record the song, and then they'll go back and do another vocal track of just... They call them ad-libs or whatever, but, like, just background vocals. Just, like, add a yee, add a ooh, add a woo, or whatever over the thing to, like, add a hype to the song. So even if it's very subtle in the background, you can hear the other vocals, and they, like, layer to create something different. There's a... At this point, it's super old, but there's a video of Waka Flocka, the rapper, and he's just doing an ad-lib track, or like a vocal whatever track. So he's in the booth, and they're just recording him, and he's just there, just going bow, 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 into the mic, like over and over again, recording like the hype stuff. And it just looks stupid, right? Because he's recording that, but when you take that stuff and you cut out different pieces and you add it to other songs, like in the background, it actually like adds a lot to the song. It's been all over like popular rap for a while.
Oh, okay. I think that might just be like my inexperience with rap showing then, because I didn't actually know that. I was like, wow, that's actually really cool.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think that is part of why it's so like Young Thug makes really interesting music, because he does weird stuff like that, where like even songs that I've heard dozens of times before, like I'll put on a different pair of headphones and I'll really listen, and you can get like he'll say the line in the background and then say it like multiple times and then just like put it in the back and like layer it over. Like you'll just hear him saying words that you didn't hear him saying before because he's like way in the background. It sounds like he's saying it from like the back of the corner of your room or something, but it's like barely there, but it's awesome. Does a lot.
Yeah. I'd really love if they'd borrow that in some indie pop songs. Like there's one immediately that pops to my head that like literally if they had that in there, that song would be a lot better.
No. Because they're boring, or like what's the...
No, this is a artist I listen to. I really like pretty much everything he's ever made. Really enjoy all of his work. He has a song called Habits of the Heart on his EP. And one of the lines that leads into like a pause, like an interlude, and it happens like repeatedly, is he just says gone, and then that's it. So he's just like blah, 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 gone, and then that's it. And then there's like a long pause where it's just music. And in my head when I was like listening to Dawes on my head, I was like, if he just repeated the word gone occasionally during that like musical interlude, that song would be a lot better. Because it's like what you were saying, it's like a lot of what I listen to is like sparse or skeletal, and just like filling in a little bit would probably be nice.
But he's gone. How are you going to keep repeating gone if you're gone, you know?
I think he isn't the one who's gone.
Oh.
I think the person he was pining after is gone. Because the song is called Habits of My Heart, and in there he talks about how he can't say no, and how the person gets too close. Yeah.
Well, Kanye has a song called Gone. It's not about that, but he kind of does that where he says, 'cause I'm gone, and then it's like a minute of just the beat. But then he comes back and he starts rapping again. It's pretty cool. But yeah, no, the whole like saying you're gone and then like no music. Maybe that was like a thing, you know, an artistic thing.
No, there's still, so that's the thing is that there's still music, kind of like what you're talking about, but it happens repeat. Like I imagine that happens like one time in the Kanye song, right?
Yeah.
Like for real emphasis. That's like the chorus to this song.
Oh, weird.
It's just like 20 seconds of like musical break. That's why I call it like an interlude almost, where it's just like, and now time for our like musical interlude, and then you just have to sit through it. And I'm not saying it's bad because I do like that stuff too, but it's just like, just give me a little bit more, and that song will be better, be a banger.
Be the change you want to see in the world, Yazeed. Start recording indie pop. You got the mic for it. I've got some audio software. You got Tynan. You know, you can start doing your weird vocal tracks on pop music.
I would be by far the worst. What would be? Oh, did you ever come up with your hip hop name?
I did. It was Papa Bean. Remember?
That's right, Papa Bean. I don't know what my indie pop name would be. It'd be like.
I feel like you just thought of one, but you don't want to say
it. So a lot of the indie pop I listen to, they'll just change a letter, like a vowel, to a different vowel.
Sure.
So I'd be sad with an E or a U. I haven't decided yet.
So like S-U-D?
Yeah.
You'd be Sud?
Yeah, I'd be Sud.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. You could do like you could do like merch, and it's the episode of the Suds, the SpongeBob episode, and it'll be like cross-brand promotion. You know
that'd be pretty sick. Another thing that, like Churches, there's a band I listen to, and they replaced the U in Churches with a V. Yeah. Churches. Churches. I could maybe, I'd definitely like lean into the like nonsense.
Well, I support your pop career.
The other option is that a lot of the artists I listen to just use their name. They're like first and last name, like this is who I am. Like, I think her name is Meg Meyer and James Young and stuff like that. Like a lot of artists I listen to, they're just like, this is just who I am. One of the people I listen to literally used to have the like pseudonym of like Chet Faker, which is the most milquetoast name I've ever heard in my life. His stage name was Chet Faker, and he changed it to his real name, and it sounds a lot better.
I have one too many syllables in my name to be just my name, famous person, you know? Like, if it was Joseph something, you could be famous. But Joseph Garcia, oof, you got that fifth syllable.
Yeah, but you could shorten him to Jogar.
I'm not a Viking, not a caveman.
That's true. Well, I can't shorten my name at all. There is no short version of Yazeed.
You can go by Zeed. You'd have to start like riding a skateboard though if you went by Zeed.
Yeah. Would you ever? You used to ride a skateboard. I feel like we talked about this.
I think I mentioned that I have stood on a skateboard, and I was like, this doesn't feel solid, and I got off of it. That was it. That's my whole career. I'd
love to learn how to skateboard.
I had a friend who spent some time trying to convince me to get an electronic skateboard.
Kevin G.
No, it's someone I knew in Seattle. He was like, think about it, dude. Like, getting around here is like takes so long to walk. You know, what if you just like spend $800 on this skateboard with me, and you can like control it from your phone? Be cool, right? So he went and bought one, and I didn't. Anyway, it's a long story, but
did he like it?
I don't know. I kind of don't talk to him anymore. I hope so. I hope he found happiness in his skateboard.
That's beautiful.
Thanks.
This is normally a part of the podcast where I whip out a secret rapid fire question that Joseph didn't know about, but I actually don't have any this week, so
that's okay. You know, I don't have the capacity to answer questions at the moment. I'm not really a thinker like that, you know.
Have you ever had bananas and onions in combination?
Was that the question? That was you?
No, I was just seeing in Avatar, the guru gives Aang banana and onion juice to drink, and it sounds awful.
I don't think I've ever had banana outside of the context of a dessert. And I don't think I've ever had onions in a dessert, so I'm going to go ahead and guess no, but I don't know about that for sure.
Okay. What was your stance on the bananas and jalapenos thing from the food episode? Do you remember?
What was the question specifically? I don't remember.
You think I remember my own stupid questions? I don't remember. I don't remember like last week. No, I don't remember exactly, but it was something like you had to eat a certain amount of bananas and a certain amount of jalapenos, and how would you do it? And
I don't remember this question.
What?
I don't remember this question at all.
Okay,
I remember the food episode.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure on the food episode I asked you about if you had to eat bananas and jalapenos, how would you do it? Would you eat them individually? Would you eat them together?
It's obvious. Okay, what are the rules? Do I have to eat a certain number? Do I have a time limit?
I think there was an amount of jalapenos and an amount of bananas. I think it was like one jalapeno, or so I think it was like one or two bananas and one jalapeno, or two jalapenos, one banana.
That's it?
Yeah, it's not a lot. I don't want you to throw up, dude. That's a nightmare.
You eat the jalapeno first, and then you eat the banana. Or bananas plural. Easy, because the banana will cool your tongue, because it's all like...
This was your position, and I told you that, but I don't think bananas would cool your tongue. Dude, I don't think bananas would.
Okay, you're talking about either eating a bunch of bananas and coating your tongue with banana, right? And then eating jalapenos after that, and it's kind of like sticking in your mouth. You know what I mean? Because like there's stuff in your mouth, so it's not like raw mouth. You got like coated mouth, which makes it linger. So you got like a different thing going in. So you're already partially full. You've eaten 2 bananas, and you're about to hit the worst part of the challenge. And there's no peace after the jalapeno. You've eaten it, and you're done. There's nothing to cool the mouth. So you eat the jalapeno, you get it over with. You eat the seeds, you eat the whatever. Your mouth on fire, but you just like mush up a banana with your tongue in your mouth, and tell me that doesn't cool off the heat. Guarantee that's preferable to the other way around.
I think my argument would be what you do is you dice the banana and you dice the jalapeno and you make little jalapeno burgers and you just right, because then as you're chewing you're like containing the jalapeno inside the banana gum and then you swallow.
What if you open up the top of the jalapeno and you mush banana into it, so it's kind of like a jalapeno popper? But it's full of banana, so you bite into it, and it's kind of every bite is suppressed in a way. Okay.
The idea of a jalapeno popper, but stuffed with banana, horrifies me on a real level.
All right, well, we'll try it one day.
I have a question for you. How well do you deal with spicy food?
It depends. Like at some places I can go for like the second to top spiciest. At some like there's some Indian food places where I like the hot. But like we got noodles today for lunch from just like a regular Chinese place in town, and it wasn't like all spicy whatever. It was just noodles, and they're mild, like almost killed me. So it just depends.
Okay. How would you feel about our next episode, because it'll be in person, having some rapid fire questions for each other, like 3 rapid fire questions, and we have some really hot sauce and then answer the questions.
Oh shoot. Okay, you want to have like a challenge, like a real thing, like a consequence or something to something. What's the hot sauce for?
Have you ever seen the show Hot Ones?
Yeah.
YouTube. Yeah, like that. Basically, we just have a little bit of hot sauce, answer question.
Oh, you just have to take shots of the sauce. There's no like...
I mean, I wouldn't recommend taking shots of it. This will put you out, dude.
What sauce? Do you have like a good hot sauce?
I do, yeah.
Okay. I mean, we could just try it on the thing. I don't know if we have to like kill ourselves.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't going to say we have to have a lot. Like, I was thinking like maybe I could get like some salsa and chips, and then I could have the hot sauce too. And then we could have chips and salsa, and then have... Well, right before we answer the questions, we have some hot sauce with our chips.
Perfect. Episode 33, chips and salsa in person.
That's right.
At this point, we've recorded like 80%, 90% of the things. Like since I've actually been home, we've recorded over this, so I'm excited to do these in person again.
Hell yeah. I am as well.
It'll be our second in-person episode, or like regular.
Where it's just the two of us, yeah.
Yeah. Also, Synovia is definitely still here. She hasn't been on an episode in like 20 episodes. I thought it'd be kind of funny to just like not mention it, and then you know how people like speculate on podcast drama based off of people who are in the show. So like, people might be like, "Oh, Synovia hasn't been on the show in like 4 weeks, and Joseph's kind of a dick lately. What if he's just like sad, you know?" Like, but no, she just hasn't been on. I don't know why.
That would be. We should. Okay, the next episode should be like you and me hanging out in person, and the episode after that, she should be involved in some way. That'd be pretty nice.
I can ask her. I think part of what I'm doing right now is new dashboard stuff, so maybe we can get her on to talk about what she wants us to do with the dashboard. After
that would be, yeah, I think talking about like the dashboard and just kind of like UI in general would be kind of nice. Like how does she, like, I guess for me the questions I would have for her, like how does she envision the UI, like what would she compare it to, like what would be like thematic elements that we would be able to see like throughout, like what would she like to see throughout like all the games and like things that tie things back together.
What's the design language?
What's the show me your wireframes.
That's a whole other thing. Like we can't if you're talking about enforcing style across all games, and we have to have like a style guide for all of your art and anything that you make in every game, which I think I don't want to do. But
see, this is the kind of stuff we have to talk about.
Yeah, we could talk about maybe Synovia will argue, and we'll have a whole argument on the podcast.
Hopefully it won't be an argument. It'll be a debate or a disagreement. I don't want you guys like getting mad.
No, it's not mad. An argument is just a disagreement. It's just a conversation that comes from a disagreement, you know? I love arguing. I'm like,
I know you do.
A fan of arguing, and I don't think it's a negative thing or like an aggressive thing.
No. Arguing on its own isn't. I just think that there's a connotation with the word arguing as negative, whereas disagreeing, I think, is more positive, and then debating is like the most positive.
Yeah. But if you're like Space Force on Netflix is like the best show ever made, I'll argue with you because you're wrong. You know? I don't think you're stupid. I just think you're wrong. You know?
Okay, that makes sense. I don't know what Space Force is, so I couldn't argue against or for this.
Well, Space Force is a new branch of the military, but there's a show on Netflix about that. It's like a Steve Carell show. Anyway,
Steve Carell.
But you don't like The Office, but you like Steve Carell?
Yeah. I like him as a person. I don't like his acting.
That's like his most famous. Anyway, we'll talk about that.
He also has that scene in Bruce Almighty.
Oh, the
that one, and then he also has the one where he's Moses and like the follow up to Bruce Almighty.
Evan Almighty.
Yeah, Evan Almighty. Is that really what they called it?
Yeah.
That's hella lame, but okay.
Yeah. Everything after, wasn't there like another thing they made too?
I didn't watch any of the ones.
I want to say there was. Anyway, yeah. Bruce Almighty's a good movie though.
It is.
And we'll see you next week.
Yeah, we'll see you next week. In person with hot sauce and other silly things. We'll probably talk about achievements and what makes a game good.
And I'll probably still have this hat.
I'll wear my hat. It's also blue.
All right, episode 33, Hat Week, coming next week. Set your DVRs. Like, comment, subscribe.
Jesus. Bye-bye.
Bye. We're going to become like, comment, subscribe people.